Today, Thursday, October 30th, 2008. Today's topic: you have 5 days left to vote. 5 days. Your vote won't count because of the Electoral College. I've covered that in my other videos. What I want to cover today is what would I do if I was running for president? Because I covered in yesterday's broadcast what politicians could actually do, which was not much of anything. They could pass laws, create budgets, and declare war. So that's not a lot of things that politicians could actually do. And the office of president cannot declare war. That's a congressional deal that they have to declare war. So with that said, the powers of the president, although expanded by the Patriot Act and things like that, what would I do if I was president? Well, the first thing I would do is can the entire Department of Homeland Security, because it's asinine to think that the Department of Homeland Security, with all of its counterterrorism forces and everything else, could prevent a single terrorism attack from occurring within the United States border. And, you know, they may be capable of preventing something, a 9/11 style thing, but they can only prevent it if it's perpetrated from the outside and not from the inside. I believe that the Department of Homeland Security is so ineffective that they rival modern day police departments. Because if you could believe for 1 second that the Department of Homeland Security has prevented any terrorism attack from occurring in the United States, let's not get complacent. They couldn't prevent a terrorist attack no more than a cop could prevent a home invasion, a robbery, a murder, a drug deal from going down. That's what we're really looking at. And there's a lot more cops on the street trying to prevent crime, murders, robberies, home invasions, carjackings, car theft. I mean, you know, basic robberies, fights. You can't prevent something that somebody is going to do and show no signs of doing it. Anything that's under an impulse. And it wouldn't take much impulse for somebody to go to a sporting goods store and buy everything they need almost at one place to walk into a mall and blow themselves up. So to think that they could prevent that from happening is just ludicrous. It's a waste of tax dollars, and it should be done away with, because they can no longer secure our borders any more than they already are doing. I posted a thing on topics.net about a year and a half ago asking the question, would you consider illegal immigrants possible terrorists? Not to discriminate against Mexicans or any other immigrants that come in this country legally or illegally, but the question remains, they came in here illegally, would you consider them to be terrorists? Well, considering that you cannot rule out that every single one of them is not a terrorist, then it's logical to think that they could all possibly be terrorists until proven otherwise. That's the way that our system's gone. You're now guilty until proven innocent. They want your fingerprints, they want your national ID card, they want your passport card, they want these other control cards to travel across the borders, and going into effect in January of this year. The last time I checked, the last place that ever happened was Nazi Germany. Now, you know, we're basically living in the North American Union, where we have, you know, free trade between the United States and Canada. But now they're going to require us to have passports, be fingerprinted, background checked and everything, just to cross the border with our neighbors, our friends, our allies. I find that hard to believe. So if I were elected president, I would do away with all of that. Get rid of a bunch of pork barrel spending, cut government down in size, because that's one thing that the president can do. He can get rid of the Secretary of Education. Think about it. It's a radical idea, but every state has their own Department of Education. So why duplicate a state's benefit? Give states their rights back, let the states pass the laws, and the federal government just oversee the safety and protection of the country, instead of worrying about all of the little nuances of border security and things like this. Let the local law enforcement agencies take care of it. We can't survive as a country with government getting bigger, and that's exactly what's happening. And as I outlined in one of my other videos, which I'll go into depth in future videos, is the monetary system. As long as we have a debt-based currency, our problems are just going to get worse and worse and worse. Now, I know today that the chairman of the Federal Reserve lowered the interest rate to 1%. Well, a lot of people might be thinking, well, that's a pretty good thing. It is if you're a bank, because that's the cost of interest that you have to borrow money from the Federal Reserve and pay back. As far as the average consumer, that's probably not going to make much of a difference whether you're capable of attaining a new home loan or a new car loan right now. The Dow Jones has been going up and up and up, and it's had a couple of days going back and down, back and forth. But watch and see what happens after the election. After next Tuesday, 5 days from now, that thing's going to fall like a rock. Watch and see. That's that prediction. I'm still kind of concerned about what challenges our soon-to-be President Obama is going to face in office, because I just hope to God it's not another one of those 9/11 style things, maybe where they set off a dirty bomb or something in the Midwest. That would be just, crazy. And if that happens, you know who to point the finger at, and it's not going to be the Al-Qaeda. I outlined in previous videos that the terrorists that perpetrated 9/11 could not have been the Al-Qaeda and everything else like that, because basically Al-Qaeda was a computer program that was used to track the Mujahideen fighters, get them resupplied and stuff like that. Probably still classified stuff, but some of the stuff does get leaked out. One of the other things that I would do if I was elected president is immediately urge Congress to implement a flat tax, because there's no reason for people that are making more money and people that are making less money pay different percentages of income tax. Now, the goal would be to get completely rid of the federal income tax, as is, I don't believe it's actually constitutional. But until we get government shrunk down in size and get our federal debt completely abolished, then we'll be able to do away with the income tax. But get everybody on a flat tax, everybody pays the same. I'm not an economist, I'm not a financial expert, I don't know what the best percentage would be, but I would figure somewhere between 20 and 25% of income should be taxed, which is a lot less than I would be paying, and a lot more that the multi-billion-dollar income earners would be paying. They'd be paying a lot more. I saw a thing where, what's that guy's name? Warren Buffett. He was looking at the income tax of one of his secretaries that made about $60,000 a year, and found out that she paid like 34% income tax, where he was only paying like 18% income tax. So that's a pretty big difference. Although the amount of money that he paid in was substantially higher, the amount of money that he made was greater. So if you're paying a flat tax, everybody pays the same. Might kind of sound like socialism, but I don't think so. Because inevitably, once all of the debt is paid off, government is reduced in size, the income tax could be abolished. There's no reason to have it. Giving states back their rights, going back to the constitutional republic that we were in. One of the things that I would do if I was president was get rid of the Electoral College. There's no point in having a bunch of people that are part of the system deciding who the next president's going to be. It should be the citizens of this country. As a constitutional republic and a democracy, we have to have our voices heard. I will stress again, you have 5 days to vote. I would definitely consider voting for other. Third party, I don't care who it is. Just as long as you don't vote for Barack Obama or John McCain. Because both of those people are controlled by the powers that be. And you can speculate, you can call it conspiracy theory, you can call it whatever you want. But the fact of the matter is, they're in power because they were put there. They didn't just volunteer for this, they were put in place. You gotta have two options in order for this to be a democratic society. But when both options are controlled by the same controlling interest in the corporate fascist economy that we have, you're only going to wind up with the same things being accomplished. So, T minus 5 days, get out there and vote. Have a great night.